What's up, Jake Paulers? Hey, don't forget this one's for you. Hustle, keep that hustle going, Mavericks. Take our second job, take all the jobs. I don't care as long as you buy my merch, Mavericks. Yeah! This is a Halo video. It's a Halo conspiracy. It's a weird Halo conspiracy. It's a weird idea I had. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense, but I want to talk about it in this video anyway. Because the other day, I was walking to work, hustling, bros, and I was listening to the Black Parade because you should be. That's a very good thing to do. So I was listening to Black Parade, and I was just such a great album. It's such a phenomenal album, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, I wonder how the band feel about the fact that, sort of out of nowhere, they became like the Beatles of an entire genre. Like, they are the kings of emo rock. They are like the go-to emo rock band, beloved by all. And yes, I know you could say The Cure, but we're not talking about goth rock. We're talking about emo rock, and they are the gods of emo rock. My Chemical Romance, indisputably. And what I love about them being the gods of emo is that they did it like by just making cool, good music. Like, the music was good, people liked it, and then, people looked back at it. They were made fun of back in the day, and like, look, he wears makeup, how stupid is it? So that aged poorly, didn't it? I'm wondering if I should even leave that in the video. Yeah, look at them. Look, it's silly. They're pretending they're a parade. This is so dumb. Yeah, why don't you go into your bedroom and listen to your Fallout romances? But now they're heavily respected. They just released a new song a few weeks back, and everyone was super excited about it and praised it. And, suddenly they're like this hugely influential band. And I love that because none of the members of the band died. Like, none of them had to die in order to be considered the greatest in the genre, which is the case with most bands. No, they're all still alive, and they just made it by making good music. People listen to it, they like it. None of them are dead. It's just great stuff. Like, you can go back, it's pretty timeless. Helena slaps, and I don't care what anyone says. I still lose my shit every time I put Helena on, and I choose to put Helena on Spotify. Give them hell, kids. Just like, it's so good. So I was thinking about it, like, I wonder if this has ever happened with anyone else. Ever happened anywhere else, Has it happened to a band? Well, has it happened in any other field of entertainment? I don't realize how much of a stupid question that was, because this shit happens all the time. It's happening right in film. It's absolutely crazy. It happens all the damn time in film. It's absolutely ridiculous. Revisionism is huge in film, but not in the cool My Chemical Romance way, but in the lame, like, oh, we're all going to think this now, and you gotta think it with us, you bunch of vapid shells of human beings that pretend to like things when other people tell them that they should. Yeah, this is happening right now with Thor: The Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok, where people are suddenly saying, I actually always liked Thor: The Dark World. I always thought it was a great movie. I was there from the start. If you were, then why was it universally panned? And people saying, I never liked Ragnarok. Ragnarok's silly. It's a silly movie. I miss the days of Thor: The Dark World. And it's insufferable to listen to, because people make such a huge campaign for one thing and then just like go the opposite way. And yes, this happens with games as well. But I was thinking about it. I was thinking about, like, okay, so what cases do we have, where this has happened with games? And of course, I'd say the big ones are stuff like Black Ops 2, Fallout New Vegas, stuff like that. Games that are really beloved now, that were absolutely panned when they came out. But of course, among them, and quite possibly one of the highest among them, is Halo 4. And actually, approaching on that level is Halo 5. Halo 5 is going that way. This has happened, and it also happened with MCC. For all intents and purposes, MCC was dead on arrival. No one was happy with it. It was broken. Then suddenly they did this huge update. They fixed it. It became a great game, and people gravitated back towards it, to the point where you can still, in a 8-year-old game, find games very easily. I have MCC nights almost every weekend. It's still a hugely popular game, despite what you may think. It is massively popular to this day, and once again, it's an 8-year-old game, and I would actually say that the MCR effect applies more to MCC than any of those other games, because with MCC, they made it good. And the product that people are returning to isn't just something that they're nostalgic about, it's something that is legitimately a fantastic game, a truly tremendous game. Now, where it differs is that they made it a good game rather than it just being a good game when it came out. It's not just people being nostalgic or, contrarian and trying to say things that other people aren't saying until it amalgamates into, oh, actually, now I'm starting to fit in, I like this, let's just continue saying I love Halo 4. And the reason I say all of this is because, it's almost unbelievable to think back in 2012 that Halo 4 would be this weirdly beloved game, particularly in 2015 when Halo 5 was completely panned across the board. And I'm wondering if 343 know this, and I'm wondering if well, of course they know this, they definitely know this, but I'm wondering if they acknowledge it, and if this is what's going on. Now, look, this is going to be far-fetched, this is going to be an absolutely ridiculous theory, but what if 343 are intentionally making a game that's bare bones and has barely anything in it so that they can keep building on it and keep building on it and keep building out and take their time making, admittedly, probably very good content. Then in a few years' time, when everyone's feeling nostalgic and everyone wants to be contrarian to what people thought and what people currently think, suddenly people start falling in love with the game again, and it repopulates itself with a lot more on board, with a lot more stuff there. Now, of course, this is completely stupid. Like, why would they do that? It's a huge risk. It is a huge risk to take. Well, the reason it's worth taking the risk is because I think that 343 know that they don't really have a product that sets itself apart from any other products. It's an arena shooter like any other, except it just plays very well, but that doesn't give people reason to jump in. So what if the reason is the nostalgia, something that you can only have after a certain period of time, and it has to be a risk, but it's something that, like a new Call of Duty cannot come out with. It's something that a new Battlefield just cannot release with, nostalgia, this embedded nostalgia. They've already said they want the game to last for 10 years, and I can guarantee in 5 or 6 years time, people are going to consider this to be one of the greatest Halo games of all time. So when they jump back in, and it's still the current Halo game, and they jump back in, they're like, oh my god, Forge is here, there's a ton of maps, and all of the gameplay improvements have happened, and there's custom games, and this is great now. 343 are rubbing their hands together and saying, okay, well, let's reactivate all the microtransactions, let's get this party started. It seems ridiculous, but the whole thing has been ridiculous, and I have been, believe it or not, I've been racking my brains. I can't just leave something alone. I've been racking my brains for how long has it been? 8 months, or more like 6 or so, because this acceptance that things are going horribly wrong didn't happen straight out of the gate. But I've been thinking about this for months. Like, why is it this way? Why have they been so okay with completely neglecting a game that, from what I heard, they spent $500 million on? I don't know if I believe that, but they spent 6 years of their lives and tons of money on. Why would they just throw that away and not put any content out? Unless this is their way of being unique, and this is their way of being different. They're just going to let it sit dormant, actively let people fall out of love with the game, and then push out this oh, do you remember this? Do you remember this game? Well, actually, now it has everything in it. You can jump back in if you want to. Either that, or their plan is to release this new Battle Royale mode in about a year's time, and then they're going to throw people into it. Maybe then people will go, look, this game is a little bit old. Now I feel more pleasant towards it. I feel nicer towards it because it's old, and that's the way the internet works. Let's jump back in. Oh, there's this new Battle Royale mode. Perfect, and it gets people back into the fray. It could be something that's happening within a year and a half. It could be something that's happening within 4 years, 5 years, and again, it seems absolutely far-fetched, but you don't know. I mean, this may be why they're focusing on stuff like co-op campaign now, because people aren't going to jump back into the co-op campaign, they're going to jump back into the multiplayer, and that seems to be on the bottom of their list at the moment, from what I can tell. I don't know. I mean, we all know about the Halo cycle, and I'm not going to get too far into it, because I might make a video about it in the future. I know a lot of people think it's an absolutely silly idea. For anyone who doesn't know, the Halo cycle is the cycle of nostalgia. It starts with Halo 3 is amazing, Halo 2 has its issue, but it's good, and then Halo 3 is bad, and then Halo 2 is amazing, Halo 3 has its issues but it's good, and then Halo Reach is bad, and then and that cycle of nostalgia that we get with a lot of game series. I would say that I do and I don't agree with it. I think it has its merits, but at the same time it is a little bit dogmatic, and it doesn't really add for too much nuance, but it's hard to argue with results. I will say the first 3 Halo games were actually universally beloved. 3 was a bit iffy, I guess, for some people. But the first two were definitely universally beloved, so that's incorrect from the start. But the rest of it, it has sort of happened. I'm sorry, guys, it has sort of happened. And I wonder if 343 know that, and I wonder if they're trying to tap into that and see. I don't know. It's such a stupid conspiracy, you know. Whack tinfoil hats on. It's so stupid, but it's the only thing I could. It's the only thing I could think right now they could be doing. You know, it's been such a poorly run mess of a game that, man, I can't think of anything else. What else could it be? I don't know. I really don't know. Or maybe if they really are just that bad, you know, but I won't stop thinking about it. That's my current thought. My two takeaways from this video is that potentially they're trying to cultivate nostalgia, and MCR absolutely fucking slap. MCR slap. Go listen to that. Don't bother with them. Don't bother with Infinite. Play MCC. Listen to MCR and anything else that begins with M. Eminem. Eat some M&Ms. And tell everyone that you're not okay. But you mean it. You're not okay.